Hey guys, welcome to the Waterloo Warbirds hangar. We're working on our MiG-15. She should be ready soon, we hope. We got Andre here, our maintenance pro, who's going to kind of give us a little rundown of everything they've been working on with regards to this aircraft and getting her back into the air. So go ahead, Andre, tell us what you've been doing.
Well, after the importation, when we finished importing the aircraft into Canada, the owner had a concern about the old MiG style brake drums. Initially they were designed, I guess for an Air Force, had a lot of runway length, but they weren't sufficient for what he felt he wanted to operate in, the runway lengths that he wanted to operate in.
Mm-hmm.
So what we decided to do is upgrade the aircraft with disc brakes. So basically getting rid of the old drum brake system, which was air operated,
Mm-hmm.
with a little bicycle handlebar lever on the control column. Yeah. And put in a completely hydraulic disc brake system. So after looking around to see what we could use, we basically discovered that the T-33 used the same wheel size, so that basically started our thought process that we can put a T-33 brake system into a MiG-15.
Okay, that's
And
awesome.
so we, after a bunch of head scratching and looking and measuring, we basically managed to come up with a system where we can actually meet or mate the T-33 system with the MiG-15. That entailed making a new axle for the airplane and incorporating it onto the MiG-15 brake, and then mounting all the T-33 systems onto the aircraft.
So is that actually a T-33 wheel there then?
Yeah, that's actually down there. You can see the T-33 wheel, just basically straight off a T-33.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a T-33 copy of a T-33 axle,
Okay.
welded onto the bottom lower leg of the MiG-15 gear leg.
Okay, and that's all fabricated.
Yeah, all this is fabricated. This torque plate's all part of that, and then it was slid into where the original straight axle was,
Okay.
and then welded from the back and pinned.
Okay.
So
Did you have to do any modification to the gear bay door or anything?
we did have to do some modification for the gear bay door because the caliper sticks out, as you can see, farther than the gear door.
Gotcha, okay.
So what we did was came up with like a fiberglass, I guess, modification to a fiberglass cover to cover up the caliper that sticks through the door.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of arts and crafts to do that. What we had to do is the T-33 brake system is a high volume high fluid volume brake system, and it uses large master brake cylinders, which you can see down here, which we've located. These are the T-33 master brake cylinders.
Okay, gotcha.
The problem with those are they're really big, and we couldn't put them in the cockpit where you normally push those with your rudder pedal.
Gotcha.
So what we had to do is get smaller units that we mount in the cockpit. Then those transfer fluid to actuating hydraulic actuators,
Gotcha.
which then push the large brake master cylinder.
Okay.
So we had to kind of, I guess it's called like bootstrapping the system.
Pretty much.
One
So
system
this
driving
bay
the
here,
other
this
one.
is the old gun bay then,
Yeah, this
right?
used to be the old gun base, so this is where all the ammunition and the
Oh,
machine
okay.
gun, which we still can mount on the other side,
Yeah.
will go. But
Okay.
we had to reinforce it, add some more, bulkheads or plates here
Oh, okay.
to do all the mounting of the cylinders. But that took a while to figure out all the math to be able to use a small cylinder to actually sufficiently move a larger cylinder to give us the right pressure we need to actually apply a brake.
That's great. And so is that actual proper toe brakes up now as well, right?
Yeah, we were actually using Navajo master brake cylinders in there.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they're not a typical one where they push. You have a little cylinder with an arm and you push.
Mm-hmm.
The Navajo brakes they work the other way around. You actually pull on them to actuate them,
Okay.
and so that actually worked great in our
Oh, wow.
application because we had very little room in the
Yeah.
cockpit.
Yeah, it's
really,
very
really
tight.
tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a challenge putting all these systems together, and we've been at it for, almost a year trying to figure out all the little things.
Wow.
And we've taxied the airplane, and now we have very good differential braking under taxi speeds.
Good.
So our next step is getting it to high speed
Okay.
and close to landing speeds, and seeing how the controllability and the effectiveness of the brakes are.
Well, that's pretty fascinating, especially I guess we're pretty good with the T33 brakes because we have a couple T33s, so it'll be pretty easy to get parts. I imagine the old Soviet parts were hard to find.
Well, another issue was the drums. After so many cycles, they crack. The heat crack, and you can't get the drums anymore.
Of course.
So this is another solution to that problem, is the parts problem.
That's
We're
perfect.
using off-the-shelf North American parts.
Perfect.
You can call up the supplier, you can get the parts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So we're hoping soon. We don't have a timeline though, right? I know. You don't
No, like any of these major projects that you know, it's one of and it's never been done before.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of
it's a big learning curve, and
Yeah.
a lot of engineering, a lot of head scratching goes into it.
Of course.
And we don't know what, like, we're up to. We know it works great taxiing down around the ramp, but we don't know what's going to happen on the runway. So we're baby steps to getting there,
course.
and if there's any issues, we got to deal with those as they come along.
Of course. Yeah, we'll make sure it's 100% safe. Well, thanks for the info, Andre. I'll just do a quick walk around the airplane and show it off for the rest of you guys. So, coming soon to the skies of Waterloo, our MiG 15 with T33 brakes. Here you can actually see the one of the wheels on. You can see the caliper like he was talking about. And an actual T33 wheel. And then of course the wheel well. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay tuned. We'll have her out. Hopefully get some video of the taxi tests and everything once we get to that stage. Thanks a lot. Cheers.